Oh my goodness. Hi, everybody. Happy New Year. Are we 3 days in, 4 days into the new year
Today
already?
is the 4th, if you can believe that.
Today is the fourth. Listen, we are going to share something with you today, and I'm going to tell you the title right now so you know it's coming. But then we just want to have a little bit of real talk about this new year energy, especially in regards to our health and changing our eating habits and all that energy that can come with it. But we are going to talk today about the number one thing you need to focus on and change in order to improve your metabolic health, okay? To improve your metabolism. So that's the skill set, if you will, that we're going to be discussing today that's going to be really helpful to you. But for now, just have a little bit of real talk around how checking in with how you guys are doing. Did you come into the new year kind of gung-ho, like super motivated and excited for the new year and for your goals? If so, that's amazing. How's that going? I just want to share with you because if you're feeling this way, it can feel a little bit discouraging. So I just want to share this in case anybody else. I have not come into the new year feeling like this rejuvenated energy and super motivated. I've actually been in a little bit of a funk. If you notice, it's 4 days in. We are a mindset and nutrition group, and I haven't shown myself till now, knowing that everybody's got these New Year's resolutions because I've been in a bit of a funk. And if that is you, don't be discouraged. It's just a calendar moving along, and meet yourself where you're at. If you already feel like you're behind, pay attention to all that energy and what you're saying to yourself. You are not behind, and be patient, have grace. And I know that this needs something in me needs to work itself out, and I need to give it the attention it needs. And then I can continue on. And maybe I will take a project or whatever. Maybe I won't make a goal, who knows? But just really being accepting and loving about where you're at, and not feeling like, well, because it's a new year, I should be in this type of energy. These are the things I should be focusing on. I just want to give you guys permission to let that go if that's the energy you're in as well.
I'm
Anything you
laughing
want
about that because last week I was like, okay, if I was making a New Year's resolution, what would it be?
to?
And one thing I've been really trying to do is I was like, I think I'm going to try and get 10,000 steps every day of the year. Usually I try to do it 5 days a week. Okay.
Okay.
January 2nd came and I'm like, oh my gosh, I missed January. And it's so funny because my Fitbit logs it in the app, and I'm like, well, great. If I'm going off the year, I failed for the entire year. So you know what I did? I picked up on January 2nd and I went on a walk and I got my steps in, and it's totally fine. I just think it's hilarious and comical that if we're doing it on this fiscal year, I failed the first day.
Right.
I
Yeah.
thought it was hilarious.
I know it's true, but it goes to show kind of the emotional charge we give the day and the expectations and how interesting that is.
Yeah.
And just keep an eye on that. Is it serving you? Is it uplifting you? Is it helping you move forward? Or can you kind of laugh at yourself and go, okay, let's relax and let's move on. But with us being a conscious eating community here and conscious eating coaches, we, of course, want to remind you guys that no matter what you're doing, no matter if you've chosen a certain type of eating that you want to take into 2024, whatever it may be, or if you're just wanting to be more mindful about calories, whatever it is, we want to encourage you to do the work of the mindset side so that it can support whatever you are doing. And that's really what we're here for. And what the podcasts that we record every week is to be in support of that. Because like we always say, nutrition and exercise, regardless what that plan looks like, without the mindset work, will just end up being another diet that you're going to fizzle out eventually, February, March, September, whatever it is. And so stick with us for the mindset help. That's really what we're here for, to support what you're wanting to do. Now, let's get into a quick topic today that we're going to share. And that is knowing that many of you have this on your mind right now and wanting to really get serious and recommitted to your health. Sometimes we approach, like we were talking this new year, in that energy of like, I'm going to revamp everything, one thing that you can focus on this to help your metabolic state is, instead of revamping it all, okay, is to focus on this one thing. And that is the frequency in which you eat. Now, we're not here to tell you the frequency. We're here to guide you to where you can find that information, and that is to your body. Your body knows the frequency in which you should eat because of the hunger cues it's going to give you, right? And the fullness cues. And truly, studies have shown, one of the biggest studies that has been done. There was a huge study on this, that it was more important rather than the actual food itself when you eat being perfectly healthy and perfectly aligned, right? More important than the food itself being the top of the top health, more important to your metabolism was how often you were eating, because it has a direct correlation to your insulin.
Yeah. Right. And I think this is so amazing because we teach this probably every single podcast we have, right? It's in one form or another. But it's that I was listening to a podcast or something that came across my screen, right? That I stopped on. And she basically, it was just like, she made it sound maybe even simpler than we do, Robin. We make it pretty simple. Wow. She basically said, when you're hungry, you eat. And when you're not hungry, you don't eat. And you'd wait until the next meal. And when you eat that food, she didn't go into detail, but she just said, make sure you're giving your body the nutrients it needs, right? And she just kept it as simple as that. And she basically said, in a nutshell, there's really no reason to have snacks, kind of cutting back. I mean, not cutting back on calories, right? Giving your body to process what it's already eaten and waiting till you're hungry again to eat again.
Yeah. And to distinguish here, when we say snacks, sometimes people are like, but the snack food I eat are some of my favorite and they're really healthy, right? We're not saying things that you would typically categorize as a snack food, like say it's cheese and salami or something like that.
Nuts, whatever that is.
We're not saying, oh, you should stop eating those things. It's the actual meal of snacking that we've created that we've just made up. Like, oh, you should have a snack between meals. It's just a creation we've made. And it's like, well, is your body asking for that? And so,
right. Yeah, and you're correct.
I mean, foods as part of your meal.
Because I'm a caterer, one of the things that I do during the summer is there's really big camps that I prepare and plan the food for. And I am literally, they have me do a breakfast, a snack, a lunch, a snack, a dinner, and a snack after dinner. Can I tell you, those kids do not want to eat. By the time they're done, they're like, actually at the girls' camp, they're like, I can't eat anymore. And at the boys' camp, they're like, we're having a contest to see who can gain the most weight.
Right.
But the point is they even recognize at that teenager stage, I do not need to eat. Yeah. It's not that the meals were big. It's just that they never felt hungry in between the meals.
Right. But probably many of them eat anyway because they don't want to miss on what's there and what's good and exciting. Right. Yeah. But at least they have that recognition of like, oh, I don't really need this. But so yes. So coming back to this with the metabolism, even if you don't even touch the food, and this is what the study showed, even if the food doesn't change at all and you're just eating whatever you choose to eat, if you are giving the space between those by listening to your body, right? By waiting until your body's actually asking for the food and not eating just because something's there in front of you, and not eating because, well, it's the assigned snack time I've given myself.
Right.
When you allow for that space and you wait for the next time your body is genuinely asking you to eat, you are doing so many good things for your metabolic health and for your hormones, because it's all tied to the insulin, which is going to store your sugars, and the excess sugars is going to store as fat. So that if you don't focus on anything else, you guys, if you're overwhelmed, like I really do want a healthier me in 2024, but I've done this for 20 years and I know what this looks like. And the thought of revamping and starting this thing, maybe even something you've done in the past that you got incredible results, but just the thought of starting it is overwhelming. Do this one thing. And you guys, this is how we both lost our weight. Okay. This is something you can do that no matter how much in a funk I was since January 1, I at least am in this habit of following my body's rhythms and eating, and of being aware of when I'm hungry or when I'm wanting food outside of hunger and knowing how to handle that. And that's really all you need. It's not this huge makeover situation. So that's something we wanted to share, regardless on the spectrum, whether you're like crazy motivated, like keep going. We encourage that, go for it. Or whether you're more on the lower end vibe, like I happen to be this year. That's the beauty of it. Wherever you are on the spectrum, this one thing you can do every day is paying attention. Like you said from that podcast you're listening to, what I like, and she said it simply, but what I love that we teach and talk about is sometimes people don't really know if they're hungry or what's going on, right? Like if I eat every time my mind tells me I'm hungry, I'm in trouble. Well, we've taught you guys through these episodes how to distinguish the difference between your body and your mind. And that is the difference between the conscious eating versus more of like the intuitive eating type of philosophies that don't really distinguish between the two as much.
Yeah. And honestly, if you can really work on that and get a handle on it where it's not taking, like you're like checking in and you're realizing, oh, I'm not actually hungry. It's my body my body isn't hungry. My mind just wants to eat. You will lose so much weight in your mind because
Yes.
you don't have to think about it. It's not first thing in the morning, you're like, okay, what time will I be eating lunch? Or when am I going to fit that in? It's like, my body will let me know when she's ready to eat. So
Yep.
simple, so easy. You always have that with you. And that's, the other day my daughter was going to grab something to eat and somebody said something to her, one of her siblings probably. She said, listen, I'm hungry. Are you hungry? I'm hungry, so I'm eating. But she kind of called them out because they had just been there munching on everything. And I thought it's funny because it starts to become more natural the more that you play at it. And there's so much science behind it that we don't get into. Like we say, oh yeah, it works really well with your insulin, but your insulin, it has so much to do with the health and function of your body.
Yeah.
Inflammation, skin, like hair, all sorts of things. And so it's really a big deal. And if you can get back to that when we were a baby, where when we were babies, we cried when we were hungry.
Yeah.
And then we were happy until we had another need, right? But we weren't just wanting food all day long.
Right. Yes. So regardless of where you're at on the motivation spectrum or not, regardless of if you have this revamp of everything planned, or if you're like, I want to feel better, but I really dread the thought of making any changes, start here. It's truly the easiest place to start, to say, I'm not going to overthink everything, but I am going to pay attention. I'm going to pay attention when I'm wanting to eat. And before I react to that, I'm going to just sort this out. Is this really my body asking, or is this my mind? If it's your mind, then you're really not depriving yourself of having a hunger need met, right? So that makes it easy to say no. If it's your body and you recognize it's not your body asking, then you can write then no. For my metabolic health, I'm going to say no. And when I'm ready to eat, and when this truly is body hunger, no problem. I'll have this thing, even this thing that I'm wanting right now. I'll make sure to allow
It's not that I can't have it. I'm not restricting. It's just wait. And I just, before we close, I have to tell them a funny story.
Okay.
So my husband, he doesn't go around eating a lot of food. He's not a sweet tooth. He's nothing like that. But about 3 weeks ago, he got Invisalign. Well, this is so funny. With Invisalign, they tell you can have it out for however long a day, which usually is your meals, right? It's your meals,
it's not very long.
brushing your teeth. But like the other day I was making something. I'm like, hey, will you try this and see if the flavor's on? I was making salsa. He's like, no. I go, why? He goes, now that I have Invisalign, I only eat my meals because it's way too much effort to take these off, put them away, go brush my teeth, put them back in. And I go, so are you hungry? He's like, no. He said, Jen, I literally don't need snacks. He goes, it's funny because if I was really hungry, it would be worth the effort of taking them out. He goes, I realized that all those snacks that I used to come up and grab, because he works down in the basement, he works from home, he'd come up and get it, he'd have a snack attack in the afternoon, right? And he's like, I don't need it. It's not worth the effort. And if I was hungry, it would be worth it. So I thought that was so interesting. I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
I want to take the time.
I did Invisalign as well. And I had it when I was well into conscious eating. And I remember like kind of like thinking, these are a great tool. Like maybe we should do that as
mindset in the mouth
of the coaching of like having something you have to have in your mouth and only take out, because it's the exact same thing. I realized, man, these are such a pain to take in and take out that it would curb a lot of the reactionary type of eating. So that's funny.
And for him, it's like even just grabbing a nut or two, which probably in the scheme of things makes no difference. He's like, no,
not worth it.
It's way too much work.
Exactly. No, I remember having those same thoughts.
That's
funny. That's funny. All right. So you guys, we're here. We're actually preparing something super exciting that's coming here in the next
couple weeks. It really is coming. We keep saying that, but it's like at the tips of our fingers.
I know things are evolving. It's going to come out even better than what we expected because there's an app coming with it. But anyway, we love you guys. We're here for you in this community. We want you to have the healthy lifestyles and feel good in your bodies. And we're here to remind you all the time that the mindset work is really what's going to make the lasting changes for you. And that's what we want. We want you to live the second half of your lives. Most of us here have probably been dieting the first half. We want the second half of your life to just be simple and free with food. So hang with us. Let us know if you have any questions. We'd love ideas of things we can help you with in our podcast episodes. And yeah, Happy New Year, wherever you are on the spectrum, whether you're vibing high or just kind of squeaking by, it's all good.
And
all
remember, if you missed it the first day, it's okay. I already did that and I'm here.
Exactly.
All right. Talk to you later.
Hey, see you guys.
Bye.